Hello, and welcome to the information video about the college application process. Throughout this video, we're going to go through the different types of courses, what the students will need to be doing next, and some key dates that they need to remember. The first thing that everybody needs to be aware of is the fact that due to a government programme called Raising the Participation Age, all of our students in Year 11 must stay on to be doing something until they're 18. Now, this can be a range of different things. So it could be full-time education, for example, sixth form, going to vocational colleges and things like that. It can be an apprenticeship or other work-based learning, or it can be part-time educational training as long as it's more than 20 hours a week. Our whole process is designed to take us from school through to a job or career. And this diagram is just designed to show the different ways that can happen. And as you can see from the jumble of arrows on here, that just because you start off down one path doesn't mean that you have to remain on that path for the entire time. The vast majority of our students will either go on to sixth form or to a further educational college, but that doesn't cut off the roles of apprenticeships or a job. But as you can see, they all link through to a career, and even if you do an apprenticeship at age 16, you can still go on to do a degree at university. And the same the other way round. You can start off at sixth form and then go on to do an apprenticeship. So what do these qualifications lead to? As I've said, they all lead on to work, and they do it in a different way. So A-levels, which is the more traditional route, will go off to university, and then there are the options of higher and degree level apprenticeships. Technical and vocational work tend to focus more on one area, and they can lead to apprenticeships. The applied courses have a mixture of theory and practical involved, and a traineeship is a way of learning on the job. I'll talk more about apprenticeships later on in this video, and the one I missed there is T-levels. T-levels are something new for the recent years, so my next slide talks about these. So T-levels, they were first examined nationally for the first time this year. They're equivalent to 3 A-levels, but they're more vocational in their nature. Directly linked to the future employment. So it's almost a combination of the vocational courses and the more academic courses. Scenario-based teaching, so hands-on experiences with the work placement. There are employability skills that are involved, and there's a different style of assessment that take place. Long Road CRC and CAST are all doing T-levels this year, and later on you'll be able to see what those T-levels are in. We support our students going wherever they wish to go, as long as they are qualified for it. And this diagram just shows you where the last year's Year 11s went off to and have started in September. And you can see that we've got things ranging from your standard Hills Road, Long Road and CRC through to the RAF, Shuttleworth, Fashion Retail Academy down in London, Bedford Motorsport College. We will support our students. If our students wish to go somewhere that is a little bit out of the ordinary, they just need to come and talk to either myself or Mr. Ricks, and we will support them in those applications and with the research for them as well. So, a general guide to the entry requirements for the different types of courses. For the A-levels, most will require both English and maths at a grade 4 or above. There will be some specific subjects and grades. I'm going to go through some of the general guides for each of the colleges later on. But students need to be very aware of what each course needs to achieve their entry to the college. T-levels, as we said, they're a bit more vocational, so they will generally ask for 5 grade 4s, including English and maths. But again, depending on the T-level, there might be some grades needed in specific subjects. The applied general courses, you get these more at Long Road and the Oaks. These are more your BTEC courses, where the assessment is more ongoing rather than an exam at the very end. They're generally minimum of 4 GCSEs, grade 4 or above, including either maths or English. The college will be specific about which one and whether they need both. Some will require 5. As you'll see later on, you'll see that the different colleges will require different entry requirements. Now, the bottom row tends to be for fewer of our students, and there will be some who resit their GCSEs, and to do so in the Cambridgeshire area, you do need a minimum of 3 grade 4s in your subjects. There'll be some who do a technical vocational course. They are the ones that are at CRC and North Herts. Different levels of courses are available, so level 1s through to 2s to 3s. They're based on skill level rather than ability or attainment level, but there will be some set grades that you'll need. But each course has their own criteria. So the post-16 centres in Cambridgeshire are the ones I'm going to mainly focus on. I am aware that some of our students go off elsewhere, and I will quite happily support any of those students who need help with the applications for those colleges. But the vast majority of our students will apply to at least one of the Cambridgeshire colleges. So that's what this video is predominantly based on. So you can see there the 12 different post-16 centres that we have in Cambridgeshire. They each have their own specialisms. For example, Cambridge Regional College, or CRC, will do the vocational courses, but won't go anywhere near A-levels, whereas Hills Road will do A-levels and won't go anywhere near the vocational courses. So students need to be aware of which each college offers, and to make sure that they are applying for the right one for what they wish to do. For the colleges that are named there, the students will be applying to those through a system called My Choice at 16. They will be introduced to that in PSHE. They will have a password, and all the applications will be based through that. Due to the fact that we use the information that the students put onto My Choice to help us with references, all students will be expected to fill in aspects of My Choice, whether they are applying to those colleges or not. Most of the other colleges that are not listed there will have their own application process, generally on paper or online. And like I say, if somebody is interested in applying there to those colleges, they just need to come and see me, and I will let them know who's the best person to go to find out the application process. So this is just an overview of those Cambridgeshire colleges and what you can study at which place. And you can see there that the majority of the colleges will offer A-levels. You've got IB in a couple of places. So the IB is the International Baccalaureate, which is where you study a range of different subjects, so English, maths, languages, humanities, sciences, as a whole program, rather than specialising in one particular area or in a couple of areas. And you can see the applied courses there as well. So these are the minimum A-level profiles. I'm not going to talk all the way through each of these. If there's any of the colleges here that you are interested in, I would recommend that you pause the video. But you will see as we go through, as the slides change, that the different colleges have different grade profiles, and therefore students need to be very aware of what they are expected to get. One that I am going to do in a little bit more detail is Hills Road. So it says there that Hills Road need to be placed as your first choice A-level centre or second choice behind a cap school sixth form. So that means that if you are wanting to have your best chance of getting a guidance meeting and your choices are Hills Road and Long Road, Hills Road need to be top, your first choice. You get asked to do that on the application system. However, if your choices are Hills Road and Comberton, Hills Road will still offer you a guidance meeting if you put Comberton as top and Hills Road as second, or Hills Road as top and Comberton as second. I will go through that with each individual student as I start to see what applications they are making to ensure that we can get the most guidance meetings out of this system for them. The next bit about Hills Road, and the reason why I'm going to talk about them rather than any of the other colleges, is because they have a college's admissions score. Everybody else does it along the lines of 5 GCSEs at grade 5 or 7 GCSEs at grade 5 or above. Whereas Hills Road actually have a mathematical formula that has to be met. And for the different types of courses, there are different numbers that you are expected to achieve. So for Hills Road, you take your English language score and you multiply it by 2. You take your maths score and you multiply it by 2. And then the 6 best other grades added together. For vocational courses, that you can see there that a distinction star is equal to 8 points, distinction is 7, merit is 6, and pass, a level 2 pass is 4. In 2022, the minimum entry, and then this is for courses such as RE, history, English, subjects that don't need a specific classroom to be taught in. The minimum entry profile was 58 points when they did that sum. If people wanted to do maths, that score was adjusted to 60. They wanted to do sciences, and that includes computer sciences, you needed to get 71 with that point score calculation. So realistically, the minimum entry, the general minimum entry, is the equivalent of 6s for English language, maths, and 6 other best. For your sciences, it's the equivalent of 7s for all of those. Obviously, there is a little bit, because they're all being added together, there is a little bit of variance in that, but also you will be expected to get certain grades in certain subjects. These point scores, though, the reason why I put it in 2022 is because these point scores will move up and down depending on the cohort that have applied. So just because it says 60 to be able to do maths this for the year 11s that have just been, it doesn't mean that it will be 60 for the year 11s currently applying. So here are just the last couple that are A-levels. Then we've got the IB. So we only have 2 places in Cambridgeshire that do the IB, which is Impington and Parkside. And the vocational courses that you can do. And as I said earlier, there's different grade profiles depending on the different levels you take for each of these. So you have to check out their prospectuses and online information quite carefully to make sure A, that you're applying for the right level, and B, so that you meet their criteria. So here's some further vocational courses that you can do. And then we have employment options, because some people will feel that going to college isn't right for them. So we have 3 different employment options that there can be. We have the traineeship, which is the work-based skills development, and that will generally lead on to an apprenticeship. And we also have employment with training. Now, in terms of apprenticeships, they're available to everybody. These apprenticeships are not just for your high achievers or just for your low achievers. They're for everybody. And the key thing about them is that you can earn whilst you are learning. And for some people, that is the right thing to be doing. They run through a range of training providers. Our key one in this area is CRC. And if you're interested in talking to somebody about apprenticeships, on the 29th of September, we do have somebody coming in with the CRC contingent to talk about apprenticeships and to be able to answer your questions. Further information can be found from the website that's mentioned there, the Apply Apprenticeship website. And I've done a search this morning and found that just within 10 miles of the school, there are over 30, and in a range of different topics and subject areas. In fact, apprenticeships, you can get one in almost anything. You do need to be careful, though, to make sure that you are getting the right level of apprenticeship. And for the vast majority of our students, we would be looking at either an intermediate or an advanced level apprenticeship to be applying to at this age group. Just because you go off and do an apprenticeship doesn't mean other routes are cut down to you. And also, if you go off and do A-levels or a vocational course, it doesn't mean that you can't go off and do an apprenticeship at a later date. What we would recommend, though, is that anybody who's applying for an apprenticeship does also apply for a college course as a backup, just in case there ends up being any problems with the apprenticeship's placement. If you want more information about apprenticeships, please do come and see me or drop me an email. So the online application process. We've already sort of started it by starting our personal statements on the curriculum day. Those personal statements will carry on working on in PSHE. It's a web-based process, so the students will be given their password to be able to put all their information in, and it means that they can work on it in PSHE during mentor time. They can work at it at home. Due to the fact of the age of the students will be given their passwords. I am unable to share their passwords and usernames with parents. So if students lose their usernames and passwords, then they must contact me themselves. I cannot send any information to parents. I do apologize for that, but those are the rules that we have to abide by. My2016 is the website that they will be using to do all this, and you can research courses and institutions there as well. So if you want to know all the different places where you can do physical education, you can put that in and it will produce all the different colleges. You will see on colleges' websites, and you will see in prospectuses a different date to the one that I have put on this screen here. That's because the date that you see in any published material is the date that I have to make sure that all the applications are at the colleges by. And obviously I have to go through a checking process. So what we've asked for is that the deadline for the completed applications is that the 8th of December. So that will mean that the entirety of the My Choice website is completed. The courses are selected, personal statement completed and checked and uploaded, all by the 8th of December. And then, as I said earlier on, I can't give you access to those applications through the students' passwords. However, I will send you a letter that confirms the choices, because the students need to be aware that there are other considerations that have to be taken into account, and as the adults in the situation, you may well have a hand in things like transport and those sorts of ideas, and therefore the letter will come home just to confirm that everybody is happy with the choices that have been made. And we ask for that to be returned before Christmas so that I can do all those checkings and make sure that the applications get sent off in good time. So students can apply to 2 or more different post-16 applications. In fact, what we would say is that if you are qualified for more than one, you apply for more than one. That's because students make changes to their decisions as the year goes on, or after they get their grades. We don't generally allow them to apply to more than 3, just purely because that means that a decision hasn't really been made about things and they haven't really thought them through. So we do look at 3 as tend to be our maximum. All the applications get sent off at the same time, and all the same information goes off to all the different centres. So what we've said to the students already, and we'll continue to say, things like their personal statements shouldn't say, I want to go to the Oaks because, and then give reasons why the Oaks is the best place for them. The personal statement needs to be more generic. Though each application will give them the option to answer some extra questions that the individual college has asked. They have to list their order of preference as part of their application. As I said earlier, some colleges won't give you guidance meetings if you're not correctly placed within the order of preference, and I will be speaking to the students to make sure that they get the best order of preference, to get the most guidance meetings, and then hopefully get the most offers. I do have to stress though, once we get past the application stage, the different post-16 centres all go off in their own individual ways. So they have different entry criteria for the courses. So it might be the same course being offered, but you need different grades at different places. Students have to make sure that they're qualified for the courses, or else they won't get guidance meetings and hence they won't get any offers. The post-16 centres will decide who they have their guidance meetings with. And they will look at the grades that are put forward and what's been said in the personal statement. So the students need to seek the information through the prospectuses, through the open evenings, and through the whole admissions process to make sure that they are meeting that criteria. So different colleges will communicate in different ways. Some will communicate by email, some will communicate through My Choice, and for example, Long Road has its own website and system where they ask students to make their own account. So students do need to be aware of how the colleges are going to communicate with them. But they also then need to be aware that once they've had their guidance meeting, the colleges will make some offers. And again, the different colleges will make their offers in different ways. Some will make it as soon as you sit down in the guidance meeting. Others will wait until they've had their entire guidance meeting program before making the offers. And some will go the halfway house of they will wait a few days after a student's guidance meeting to make the offer. All students who apply by the deadline, so everybody who gets their application in by the 8th of December, they will receive their offers by Easter. The only caveat to that is if it's a vocational course and they've not had their guidance meeting by that point, because the vocational courses guidance meetings tend to work in a slightly different way. But the vast majority of offers will happen before Easter. And the different colleges will expect you to respond in different ways. As I've said, they will have different systems to make those offers, but they'll also have different systems in terms of responding to the offers. They will also be given different dates to respond by. So the colleges don't help us with this situation, but the students need to be aware of it to make sure that they are applying in good time and so that they don't miss out. You can hold more than one offer, and we expect our students to hold more than one offer until the results day in August. That's the whole point of the system of the way it is. But you can't do more than one type of course at one centre, so you can't have both a diploma type of course and program, I should say, and an A-level program at the same college. Centres will give the information about how to confirm their places in August, but you must be available on results day to be able to collect the results and to respond to any offers made, because unfortunately some students don't get the grades that they want to have, so that will require a conversation with the colleges, and the colleges tend to have their enrolment days pretty soon after results day, and they will make those judgments based on who is able to be there. So please do not be on holiday the second half of August. As I said earlier, there are things that students need to take into account before they make their decisions about where they're applying to, and one of them will be transport. Certain colleges apply a system where there are buses from the local villages or from Royston, but others will expect students to make their own way all the way to the college via train, drop-off, car, however the student wants to get there. For those who need it, there is some financial support available, and the County Council have issued a booklet called Post-16 Education Transport in Cambridgeshire and Do You Qualify for Help? And if you go to the link that you can see on the screen, that will give you information about that financial support that is available. Maths and English are a set of criteria that the students are expected to achieve, and this is a government set criteria rather than a college's set. Anybody who achieves below grade 3 in English and or maths will need to work towards their GCSE. The intention is that all students achieve a grade 4 in maths and English before they finish their education. Those with a grade 3 will retake. Those with a 2 or below will take qualifications that will then support them to go on to do the GCSE in maths and or English. So students really do need to be making sure that they achieve those qualifications. So what's next? On the 29th of September, we've got a evening session with all the colleges from Cambridgeshire who are going to be there, where you can ask questions. You had a parent mail about that last week. There are still spaces if you wish to come. The idea is that it's staggered, so there's no set time for you to arrive. There's no set time for you to leave, though the colleges will be available only between 5 and 7 o'clock. The colleges will be packing up at 7 o'clock to leave to their next destination. And the idea is that you come in through the hall door and you will be able to go around and ask lots of questions. We recommend that the students read all the prospectuses. Those students who attended colleges open evenings before the summer holidays will already have some prospectuses. If they need some more, they can go to the Hive, and we've got a range of them in the Hive that the students can pick up. And I would recommend that if they have not got prospectuses, that they head to the Hive this week to pick those up. And they can check the college's websites, because most of the colleges now have online prospectuses as well with searchable information. And the online version obviously has the most up-to-date information. If there are open events to attend, I would recommend that students do so, and to research online. Again, there's virtual tours that students can go on. If you're considering an apprenticeship, make sure that you visit CRC for their open day and talk to CRC at the evening event on the 29th. Make sure that the personal statement and the application is completed in good time so it can be checked. From a student point of view, they should be showing you as parents their personal statements to make sure that they've got everything in that they could, because it is a real selling point. And we ask that you talk to them about all the options that are available, and that the students consider them seriously, that they don't just be blinkered about what they want to do. They'll be completing the applications in PSHE mentor time and at home. And that deadline of the 8th of December, that is a real fixed deadline. If the applications aren't in by that point, I won't have enough time to check them all and ensure that they are all to the best standard that they can be. We do ask that that deadline of the 8th of December is met, please. So here are some open evenings that are going to be coming up in the next term. If you're interested in going to any of those places, I would recommend that you go to the open evening and go and ask lots of questions there. So that's the college application process in its entirety. I would recommend going back and pausing the video at various points to get more information if you need to from the screens. But thank you for listening, and if you've got any queries about the college application process at all, please do contact me, and my email address is there on the screen. Thank you.